160 local agencies working together to meet California's water needs. Delivering a safe, clean, and reliable water supply every day is their job. Wherever we live, in a city or on a farm, water is one of our most critical resources for our quality of life and the quality of our environment. Water storage, water treatment, water recycling, water conservation, water delivery. Aqua and its members do it for you and for all Californians.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and this is going to be a California's water adventure, kind of different from any we've ever been on before. We are starting out here in one of the most famous restaurants, not only in California, but literally, I've already been corrected, all over the world, right, Jennifer? We are in Chez Panisse, which is located here in Berkeley. It is world-renowned. It is way past 5 stars, isn't it?
We like to think so.
Absolutely. But we have come here not just to eat. We have come here to drink. I'm bellying up to the bar, and my drink of choice today is not one of their fine California wines or one of their well-mixed historic cocktails. Jennifer, you're the general manager here. What are we going to be served here today?
Today we're going to drink good old California tap water.
Tap water. Yeah. And that comes as kind of a surprise in a fancy place like this, but this is a decision that you made here at Chez Panisse years ago.
That's right. About 4 years ago, we decided to make a big transition from bottled water that was brought from Italy and France and, halfway around the world. And we decided, since our local tap water was of such excellent quality, that we wanted to make use of that local product. And now we have tap water, both still and sparkling, here at the restaurant.
But it's tap water. Just plain old, good old tap water.
Well, sure, it's tap water. We do filter it and we carbonate it.
Yeah.
So it becomes like a bottled carbonated water.
Right out of the tap. And these are words to your ears. You're smiling from ear to ear. Ron, you represent the East Bay Municipal Utilities District, East Bay Mud, everybody calls it. And you heard what Jennifer said. Why is your water so good that it can be served right out of the tap?
Well, we're very proud of our drinking water. First of all, it's snowmelt out of the Sierras. We take care of the watershed around our source water. We treat the water, and we take care of it in the distribution system as we send it out to our customers. We meet all of the state and federal regulations. In fact, we surpass them, and we're very proud of what we do, and we're very proud that Chez Panisse serves our water.
Well, now it meets you have a lot of standards you have to hit, don't you?
We have over 100, and generally we set our own goals beyond that, so that we're surpassing those goals all the time.
Okay, so there's never any question about the quality of East Bay Mud's water.
No.
And you never have any worries about it, because as much as you'd like to serve tap water, if it didn't taste good, you're not going to serve it to your customer.
That's correct.
So not only have you got that quality control, you got good taste. This is good taste in water.
Taste is one of the things that we pay attention to all the time, and we're continually paying attention to that. Yes.
And your customers don't take this for granted. They appreciate it.
No, and our customers, if it doesn't taste good, call us. And
I'm sure your customers do the same thing.
Absolutely.
All right, now it's one thing to talk about water. It's another to, look, we got it right over here. Now this is interesting. It comes right out of the tap, but this is tap water. So it's coming right out. Come on and bring it over here, Jennifer. There it is. Let's hold it up and take a look at it. This is water right out of the tap. And you got the glasses here. I'm going to let you do it because you know the proper way to do it, the Chez Panisse way to do it.
So this water has been filtered, and then it has been carbonated. We have a carbonator that adds bubbles, and we can adjust the degree of bubbles that we like.
But you could drink it without the carbonation.
We serve it without carbonation also. We have still and sparkling.
But
correct.
We're having the carbonated today. Let's do some cheers here. Cheers. Here we go. We're drinking good old-fashioned East Bay Mud tap water, carbonated tap water. This is as good as it gets. Well, I guess it is. I haven't tasted it yet. Let's drink a little bit of it. Oh boy.
That's good.
That's good. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now we're going to have lunch, and then we're going to continue our water adventure. Here it is, right here, right out of the tap. Good old California tap water. Okay, we have finished drinking our East Bay Mud tap water at Chez Panisse in Berkeley. And as our water adventure continues, we've now driven about 35 miles east of Berkeley. We're near the community of Brentwood, and we are looking out at this amazing view here. Introduce yourself to everybody and let everybody know where we are, because I'm just blown away at what we're seeing right here.
I'm Greg Gartrell, Assistant General Manager at Contra Costa Water District, and this is the Los Vaqueros watershed, which is a 19,000 acre watershed we have protected for water quality purposes.
I got to tell you, driving in here today, we were coming right up this little road, and I thought we were in some kind of a preserve or some kind of a state park, or this is as pretty a countryside as I've seen anywhere in California.
It is a beautiful watershed, and in fact, some of it is preserved. We have about half the watershed is dedicated just for habitat for San Joaquin kit fox, red-legged frogs, salamanders. We have bald eagles in this area. We have golden eagles nesting every year. It's an amazing place.
Maybe it was just the way the morning sun hits the side of the hills here with the oaks and all of this, but this is absolutely spectacular.
It is.
Even the side of the reservoir looks nice down here in the morning sun, and that's what we're here to talk about, is not just the beautiful land. And how many acres are we talking about?
19,000.
19,000. We're here to talk about this reservoir right here. Here's the dry side of the reservoir. Here's the water. Here's the payoff over here. And Greg, this is beautiful in its own way. What are we looking at here, and why is this water important?
This is the Los Vaqueros Reservoir. It's a 100,000 acre foot reservoir that Contra Costa Water District built in 1997. We get our water entirely from the central California Delta. It comes from snow melt in the Sierra and into the Delta, and then we pump it in here in the spring and the summer.
So all of this water comes down through the Delta.
Right. So central
got Delta water here at Contra Costa Water District.
Right.
Now what makes this reservoir so important, though, because you know we're talking about water quality on this adventure. This reservoir is a little different than most reservoirs in California.
That's absolutely right. Most reservoirs in this state were built either way up in the Sierra to generate power or down a little bit to hold water for irrigation. What this reservoir is for is strictly water quality. We fill it up when the Delta has springtime runoff, snow melt from the Sierra, and the water quality is very high.
So wait a minute, let's repeat that. In the spring, the water quality in the Delta is very high because it's that fresh water coming down out of the snowpack and all of that.
That's exactly right. And even though we're in a dry year here, we still have high quality water here at the end of July, and we're still filling it up. We'll end filling it in a week or so.
All right, now what happens to this water that you've got in here?
Later in the year, as the flows go down in the Delta, seawater from the ocean moves up through San Francisco Bay into the Delta, and the water gets salty. And at that time, we stop taking water out of the Delta, or we take a smaller amount, and take the water out of the reservoir and blend it. So our customers get high quality water year round.
So you're using this to blend with the lower quality water you get later on in the year from the Delta. This is a blending reservoir.
That's exactly right.
Who thought this up?
It actually it was started as a plan back in the 1980s when Delta water quality really started getting bad. The plan really started coming together in the 1976-77 drought, where the water was almost undrinkable in the Delta because there was just so little water. So there's not much choice at that point for the water district, which is located here, 100% dependent on the Delta. But even in the dry years, you have high quality water in the spring.
This is a way of assuring that your customers are always going to have high quality, good drinking water year round, whether the water coming out of the Delta is the great water that you get in the spring and early summer, or the more salty water later on in the year.
That's absolutely.
This is your insurance policy right here.
That's absolutely right. And so what happens, we have some bonuses from this by storing the water here. Water in the Delta tends to be very turbid, and as you can see here,
Very what?
very turbid. It has a lot of sediment and other particles in it. That makes it a little more difficult to treat. After storing it here, it clarifies. And then over on the side of the reservoir, we have at the far end there, you see a little ramp going down. That, and sticking out of the water, is the last of the ports. We have 5 ports going down that ramp where we can take water out of the reservoir. So we can take the water out at the top, we can take it out at the bottom, we can take it out in the middle. And we take it out where the water quality is best and has the best taste, so that our customers get that year round.
So you've got a consistent, good tasting, high quality water year round.
Absolutely.
Okay, you know, we've already had a glass of that good old East Bay mud tap water before we leave your reservoir and before we leave the Contra Costa Water District. For purely research purposes, I think we ought to drink some of your tap water as well, Greg.
Happy to do it.
All right, here we go. Oh, it's so sweet and so gentle to the palate.
And our customers love it.
Well, I can see why. See, this goes to prove that tap water in California is as good as any tap water you're going to get anywhere in the world.
Absolutely.
I can't stop drinking it. Okay, we're following the water. This is a true water adventure, and it doesn't get any more California than this water. I am standing here in Southern California with Marty Adams from the Department of Water and Power here in Los Angeles. Where are we technically right now, Marty?
We're right now at the very north end of the city, standing at the inlet to the Los Angeles Aqueduct Filtration Plant, right at the very inlet where the aqueducts come together, and from here it enters the plant and begins our treatment process.
Okay, so this water is raw, untreated, natural water that's come down here to LA from where?
Well, this water here is right now about a 50-50 mix. Half it's coming down the LA Aqueduct from the eastern Sierra Nevada. That'd be the Mono Basin and Owens Valley down through Lake Crowley area. And the other half's coming down from the State Water Project, which comes from the Sacramento Delta and goes down to that whole area of the Delta and Sacramento River area.
So this water's been traveling to get here.
It's gone several hundred miles to get here. Right now you're looking at about 450 million gallons of water a day coming into the filter
Right
plant.
here?
Right here.
Now, we can't drink this water right now, can we?
Well, I wouldn't recommend it. It needs to be
It's been in
treated.
an open aqueduct all the way down
It's
California.
had open aqueduct. It's had farming exposure. There's been recreation. Some of this water's come from Castaic Lake, so it needs to get cleaned up before it's drinkable.
But we will be able to drink it because this is where it hits the filtration plant right here. Then we go right over here, and we've come here because this is kind of the beginning of the cleaning up process.
Exactly right. What we have here is the inlet screens, the bar racks. They take major debris out of and anything that comes down the aqueduct, tree limbs, or anything like that. And we start the straining process, take out the big stuff here, and then we put through a bunch of steps to make the cleanest water you can possibly imagine.
That's what we're looking for, clean drinking water, clean California tap water. And it doesn't get any cleaner than our tap water here in Southern California, and that's what we're going to do. That's what this particular part of the adventure is all about. We're going to leave this area right here. This is one of the screens that takes the heavy stuff out, and now we're going to see how the water is cleaned and filtered and purified and put into those pipes that go out for people to drink it right out of the tap. Okay, the water tour begins. We've come, well, less than 100 yards from where we saw all that good California aqueduct water coming in. And now we're inside in a cool place, a very clean looking place. And we're standing in front of something I know absolutely, I don't know what this is, but this is important, isn't it, Marty?
Absolutely. This is the key to the filtration plant. Right here we have one of our ozone generators. And what we're doing at this plant is we're using ozone as a primary disinfectant for the water, and it's very effective, and that's what allows this plant to pass so much water and not have a bigger footprint.
What do you mean ozone? Is that connected with oxygen?
Yes, it is. Actually, we have a plant outside that takes air and it actually freezes the air until we can distill almost pure oxygen out of the air.
Because this is cool.
That's
right
cool.
here.
That's right. We could put it back into gas. And then in this generator, we actually split those oxygen molecules into oxygen atoms. And some of them go, instead of O2, they come back as O3, and that's ozone. That extra oxygen atom is what attacks the organics in the water and cleans the water up so well that makes this process work.
So you're treating the water with this oxygen, with O3.
That's right.
Who figured this out?
Well, this is one of those scientific issues. You know, someone's come up with this idea, and it's used a lot in Europe and more in the United States. But we do probably as good or better job than anybody because we take almost pure liquid oxygen back into gas, so we have a real high rate of ozone application, real good capabilities here, and we really, really clean the water up before it even gets to the filters.
See, this is a surprise. Who would think of the combination of O3, oxygen, ozone, and water to purify?
That's right, because a lot of places use chlorine at the front of a plant. But chlorine has a set of byproducts that mix with the organics, and then you have to deal with the byproducts. With the ozone, it does a much more effective job without the byproducts. And people think of ozone as smog in the atmosphere, but it's really not what it is. This is just a different form of pure oxygen gas going into the water and doing a great job as our pre-treatment.
You can't see it, but you can hear it. We know it's in there, and it's clean. Boy, this is an adventure. We have now we're underground, aren't we?
Yeah, we're under about 2 stories. We got about 20 feet of water on both sides of us right now.
So we're surrounded by water.
Yes, we are.
This is where all that ozone that we saw being manufactured upstairs is being mixed with the water.
That's correct. What we have is these ozone contact chambers, and the ozone's bubbled into the water coming in here. And because we're surrounded by water, that's why it's kind of cool in here, because whatever temperature the water is pretty much what we're experiencing. And this ozone's bubbled up through the water, and it's cleaning the water as the first step of the process. And that makes the coagulants that we add before the filters much more effective and able to do a better job. This is the key to the plant here. This is the key to this filtration plant that sets it different than other plants, that makes our water as good as it could possibly be.
You got the light on. Inside, there's a little porthole here, and Marty claims you can look in here and see the bubbling water.
If you look real hard.
This is one of those things I'm accepting on faith, because you seem like an honest guy.
Oh, I appreciate that.
There's a lot going on in there.
There's a whole lot going on in there.
The ozone and the water is churning around and being mixed together.
All mixing together, and the ozone's acting on all the organics in the water, cleaning them up, cleaning up the particles, so that when we add coagulants downstream, they work really well and get all the material out of the water.
This is also interesting to me, because standing here and looking at this, if you didn't know what was going on inside these walls, you wouldn't have a clue walking through.
That's right.
Here.
It just looks like concrete walls. All the processes are on both sides of us here, and this goes on 24 hours a day, every day.
Yeah, trust me, Marty knows what he's talking about, and there's a lot going on right here, right now. All right, now we've come outside the ozone building, as it's affectionately known here at the filtration plant. We've come up from 2 floors below where we just were. And now this is a huge area, and what's going on here, Marty?
Well, after the ozone, we've added coagulants to the water, so all the particles of dirt and dust that were cleaned up in the ozone process are now grouped together with those coagulants into little pieces we call flock. And then the flock comes to these filter beds and is filtered out through anthracite coal, which is a hard material that acts as a filter media.
This is getting kind of technical, but it looks like to me like it's almost boiling water here.
That's exactly right. So this filter's been taken out of service now to be cleaned. All the filters get cleaned every day. So this has been working for a number of hours, taking the last particles out of the water and making the water crystal clear. What we see here is the filter getting run backwards, and all the dirt and coagulants that were in the water are coming up from the filter. They're going to get washed out, and the filter will be clean and go back in service again.
This is what we're seeing that's come out of the water.
That's correct.
And it's going to be flushed away.
That's right. And
look at all of that. It looks almost brown. It's got so much dirt in it.
Right. A lot of it's dirt. Some of the color's due to some of the coagulants that have some color, but you'll actually, the little tiny particles that sometimes are actually visible there, all the particles that are come together in these flock, you can see them getting washed out of the filter.
What's happened to this water? Is it recycled and used again?
It is actually. This water goes to ponds that we have behind the plant, and there we let the water settle out, and when the water gets clear enough, we bring it back into the inlet, so we lose hardly any water to this plant. So we recycle all this water.
Look!
Right, there's clean water coming out of the other filters, and we're using that clean water to back flush this filter. So it's clean water getting used to clean this, but all the filters putting clean water out underneath the plant even deeper than we were walking.
Boy, this is dramatic here.
There's a lot of water moving there. It's about 17, 18,000 gallons a minute of water being used to clean this filter. So this is a fresh water that we just produced, coming backwards to the filter, cleaning it out, and then the filter will be ready to put back in service. It'll run for another 8 or 10 hours before we clean it again.
Wow, this is pretty dramatic. We got a vantage point right here, 50-yard line seats right here, looking at it being cleaned and made ready for people to drink right out of the tap. And it's about time too, because I'm getting thirsty. Now we're hitting the jackpot. We've come back underground. It's cool again, and we're coming to see the finished product.
That's right. This is after the water's gone through all the processes. It's just gone through the filter that we saw being cleaned, and this is on its way to the customers ready to drink.
This is clean, purified, DWP, California water.
Absolutely. Ready to drink. You see a whole lot of difference between the water you saw coming into the plant and what's come through these filters and how it looks now.
You understand this process. This guy understands the process. Your name, sir, is?
I'm V. Miller Huell, and it's nice to meet you.
And
welcome to our plant.
You're in charge of this place.
I am the plant engineer, yes sir.
And this is an amazing process that Marty has shown us today. Not many people understand this process, and it's right, this filtration plant is right beside the 5 freeway. Hundreds of thousands of cars go by here every day, but we don't really know what's going on here, do we?
I think that's right. I think most people take it for granted that their water's going to come out clean and not going to make them sick.
We're all kind of guilty of taking our California tap water for granted, aren't we?
Amen to that.
All right. You're standing here holding this contraption because I ask you what?
He wants to drink our product right out of the filters.
Before it even gets to the tap.
We're giving him the first taste of what comes out of this plant.
All right, so you've come up with this contraption. Go ahead and put it down there. We're going to put a bottle of, we're going to fill up a bottle of this fresh water right out of the system before it gets in. Don't fall in, V. He's getting water in the bottle. We don't need a whole bottle full. Did you get it?
Here we go.
Oh boy, look at this. Look at this, Cameron. This is the real thing. It looks good enough to drink, and that's what we're going to do with it right now. Oh boy, we're not waiting, are we? You're bringing it right on over here. Marty, come on over here and get in this picture.
Bottoms up.
This is the real thing. We're not rehearsing. We're doing it right off the... This is it. This is it. Before it even hits the pipes, before it even goes into the taps. This is it.
The first drink. Good stuff.
It's good stuff. It's good, clean California water. Why are we so obsessed with drinking bottled water?
I don't know. I think there's some perceptions out there. People have no idea what the regular drinking water that comes out of the tap, what it goes through, and the protections and the standards it has to meet, but it meets the most stringent standards in the world, and we're really proud to serve it.
In California, there's nothing cleaner, nothing better, nothing tastier, nothing more refreshing. Here, give me some more of that. Than good old, clean California tap water. It's here for all of us to enjoy. This is true California water at its best. Marty, I forgot to ask you, how long does this process take of cleaning the water from the time we saw it coming down from the aqueduct until the time I drank it here at the end?
Well, it varies a little bit from situation to situation depending on what's coming in. Right now it's taking about a half an hour to clean the water. So actually the water that we saw first coming into the plant is probably pretty much the same water you just took a sip of.
The whole process averages 30 minutes. That's hard to believe.
There's a lot of steps that take place, but it's a very quick and efficient process, and you can see what it does to the drinking water. It cleans it up real nicely.
And how much water again are we talking about per minute?
Right now, we're running about 450 million gallons a day.
Oh, that's a lot. A lot of water.
Yeah.
California's water is made possible in part by the Association of California Water Agencies, ACWA, 460 local agencies working together to meet California's water needs. Delivering a safe, clean, and reliable water supply every day is their job. Wherever we live, in a city or on a farm, water is one of our most critical resources for our quality of life and the quality of our environment. Water storage, water treatment, water recycling, water conservation, water delivery. ACWA and its members do it for you and for all Californians.
Well, hello everybody, I'm Huell Hauser, and you know it's all about California's water, specifically California's tap water. And if you'd like to go on this tap water adventure again, share it with family or friends, or perhaps donate a copy to your local school or library, well, it's available on DVD. All you have to do is call 1-800-266-5727, and we'll be glad to send it to you right away.
Congratulations, Howell Huser. Howard Husner. Huell Hefner. Huell Hauser. 25 years at KCET.
Huell Hauser and KCET. 25 years celebrating the people and places of California. Washington Week with Gwen Ifill is next on KCET.
Tonight on SoCal Connected.
They knew they had a serial arsonist on their hands.
It happens every 43 minutes in California. An arsonist sets a fire. Now, a detective has to unravel the crime.
You start looking for unusual indicators. Incendiary devices, they could be flares, matchbooks, and cigarettes.
To catch an arsonist.
That's next time on SoCal Connected. Tonight at 8:30 on KCET.
We're in the middle of a big ranch, aren't we?
Huell gets an exclusive tour of the 80,000-acre Hearst Ranch from the great-grandson of William Randolph Hearst.
It rocks.
It rocks.
Sunday at 7 on KCET.
On Frontline, in the aftermath of a disputed election,
who was Nada? Why was she killed?
One woman's murder gave voice to a movement.
Who are all these other people that are being killed? What happened to them?
A Death in Tehran. Watch Frontline.
A Death in Tehran. Tuesday at 9 on KCET.